Now, we just had chemistry class. Right? So, at the end of, okay, I had to either just look up a couple of things. How do I explain this? Like, oh, okay, well, this is what's going on. And then, like, you actually have to like, clean it up or anything like um, did you go look this up or, you know what I'm saying, this or that? Hold on, let me see what the lighting. Why is there no change? Why is there no difference? Okay, so with the chemistry questions that I then had, right? There's one that's still a little bit iffy in the sense of, okay, it was inspired by KAO 132 Artverse, right? KAO 132 Artverse. Now, the hardest question from chemistry class. Now, I wasn't too far off with some stuff. Um, and of what did I remember? Now, when I said SPDF, and those are electron shells. Now I googled it. Now we know that now there's a whole thing with Google nowadays, but you get the AI answering version, but it called those subshells. It said those are subshells. Now the actual shells, it had the other letters of K and this and that, boom, 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 and it said the ends and how many numbers, and that was the whole thing. But the SPDF are atom atomic subshells. That's what the AI Google answered, right? So the SPDF, that part was there. When I talked about oxygen, now in the conversation, I said, well, what I was saying for conversational purposes, if oxygen had four electrons and it needed four more to fill up, I think oxygen may have had six in its outer shell. Now the outer shell, now one of the terms that could be included in conversation is valence electrons. So that's what a part of it's like the electron shells, but then the valence electrons. The valence electrons are the electrons on the outermost shell of the atom. And so that was one. So these are some things that I'll be looking forward to in like the comment section of what people are trying to like trying to narrow this part down. So the SPDF, those are electron shells, but they were called subshells. Um, the valence electrons. Now, from what I just briefly looked up, it was oxygen has six. I think it was oxygen has like six valence electrons. And again, I wasn't sure about how many electrons the SPD and F electron shells hold. That's another thing I need to just go back and kind of sort of clean up. But I think it said like oxygen had, because now one of the questions because I was like, oxygen usually pairs with itself. So one of the questions is, well, the actual Googleable question that a lot of people Google is, why is it O2? Why is it O2 and not just O? Why is it like, why are there two oxygens? And now when I Googled it, it said something about come on. Oxygen has six valence electrons, and if I'm correct, I think it needs eight, and therefore it generally just will pair with another oxygen so that they'll just and if I'm correct, it's like this is where you clean up the thinking. Oxygen has six. If I'm thinking that electron shell needs eight, therefore it will just share two electrons with another oxygen. So I think that is part of the reason that oxygen generally appears as O2 and not just O. Yes, it's a diatomic element. But the question is like, why does it appear as a diatomic element naturally in the world? And I think it has something to do with the number of valence electrons it has and how many it needs to like fill that valence electron shell. So that was that. I didn't confirm, but I really do think that potassium, which element is K, I really do think that's potassium. The O, I think we're all kind of sort of like familiar that O is going to be oxygen. But again, it was inspired by this conversation. He used his initials, KAO. I don't know. I was like, well, which element is A? There is no, this is this one is actually like a trick question. There is no element that is just a single letter A. There are a few elements. I think N might be nitrogen. You got K. I think there's S. I think that might be sulfur. O. There's a Y, yttrium or something like that. There's a few elements that have a single letter, right? I think B is one. Maybe I could be a little bit off about that, but okay, B was one, and then okay, you got that, Um, but there is no element that starts with that's just a single letter A. I know AU is gold. AG might be argon or something like that. I don't know what AG was. AS, I think, was asinine. And I was like, because the only thing I can say was aluminum, but I was like, I'm not sure if A is just aluminum. AL is aluminum. So AL, that was aluminum. So then in chemistry class, the course, like it was a discourse, and the questions we can try to like clean this up, like just like what we sure about, and maybe just that third. One of the things trying to figure out is, okay, I'm okay with the K and the 1. And I was kind of sort of familiar, like K has a +1 charge. Fine. Oxygen usually has O2. It's a diatomic element. I'm kind of sort of familiar with why oxygen has an O2. But the last one was what the other chemistry question is, why did he associate A with the number 3? And so there's a couple elements out there that have the A in it. AU, AS, and AG. Why do you think, which element do you think he was referencing? And why do you think that he associated number 3 with that element? Now, those are something that you can kind of sort of look up, maybe potentially. It's like a mystery. Not really, kind of sort of, but yeah, that was another one. I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that. I then went to go look up a couple things. I did see the SPDF. I didn't look to see how many electrons each one can hold. Another term that came up was valence electrons, which refers to the outermost shell. And yeah. So we still have a couple more questions. Feel free to do a little deep dive research of your own. But like, oh man, this is really it's gonna bother me. You know what I'm saying? But that's what I then after I went to go do a little bit more research of my own accord. And it was just because I had a conversation and somebody was like, oh, and this is why they did X, Y, and Z. Now you can see the video. That's all I went back to the video and I was like, well, what was his YouTube name? It's the one where the food was delivered. He gave me some green tea, but that's why he changed his YouTube name. So I was like, why would you change your YouTube name? And this is why he changed it in this and that thing. So I don't know. It's kind of sort of cool. Maybe kind of not. I don't know. But I was looking for, okay, when or why we would have, like, of just adding those other topics and courses. So having science class at the University of YouTube is which science? Biology, chemistry, physics, still now I'm looking for like the math one. Now, generally with the math one, I'll go down with the averages and this and that there, boom, boom. How to divide. I'm doing simple ones, but like I need a real video just dedicated just to uh, the math one. It would be nice. Well, so there's what I'm saying, there's parts of it like there's like the oh, I did a whole little freestyle yesterday. Jiminy Cricket. She pull it out because she just want to lick it. Willy Wonka got the golden ticket. Something like that. Semantics. So, do want to, we have math class. I mean, I've talked about math, certain math concepts and topics like how to divide a bigger number by, no, how to divide a smaller number by a bigger number. And I can kind of sort of do that mental math, talk about that. We officially have what is another like part goal right now. For whatever reason, I keep pivoting, doing this and doing that. But another one is with the topics, having a video dedicated for, that's the next level, whatchamacallit, like you have a video for like chemistry class, but then it's adding more subjects to the chemistry class. We did philosophy and rhetoric, then for philosophy and rhetoric a couple times, have had fashion class. I still need to do art class, math class, and I'm talking about where it has its own video officially, and then we scale up and build that as well. Rather than me just talking about it just like in like the normal just live stream or something. Math class, still needing that one to add there. Foreign language class, we added one for the foreign language class, a video just for the foreign language class. Gujarati, which is an Indian language. So we got foreign language class, fashion class, English class. We did. I think I have two sections for the English class. One, I did a little bit of poetry. The other one was looking at Lil Wayne lyrics. So we've done English class. We can do history. What it's going to spark the history of whatever. Have a discourse about it, talking about it. History class, religion and spirituality is going to fall under philosophy and rhetoric. Again, it was nice to we got for science, we got with the official video for chemistry. Yeah, so just waiting for opportunity moment, what's going to inspire math class, whether it's economics, something, what's going on with like gas prices, food prices. They got recalls on all these food. Yeah, Spirit Airlines going out. How does that affect like the price with Spirit Airlines no longer being an airline? Mind you, Spirit Airlines was the affordable. It was a cheap option for flying. Now that it's not there, the prices for flying has gone across the board for other airlines have gone up. So there's also like now you may not know of this grocery store. I didn't know about it until I moved to here. But then I asked my you know what Kmart is? He was like, nah. But he grew up out here, so he doesn't know. But Lidl's. Now I didn't know how to spell it. I didn't know how to pronounce it. It's Lidl. Lidl. There's actually an effect It's called the Lido effect. I'm gonna have to do another video for this one as well. I'll make that one short. Is you just make it as this, you can make it great later. Lidl is like a cheaper grocery store. And whenever a Lidl is built in a area, the other surrounding grocery stores have to lower their prices by about 6 to 8% because of Lidl. It's called the Lidl effect. And so that's also similar to Spirit Airlines. So that could be something quick, short, maybe kind of sort of economics class. I don't know. You know, competitive prices. So we got that. I could kind of sort of talk about that for math class. I'm not trying to sure. Is there something I want to make it like just a little bit bigger? Like, you know what I'm trying to say? Like, because, like of all the subjects, math is my thing. Of all the subjects, math and art are the two. So I could just make a video for that right there. But when it comes to math, I really want to knock it out the park. You know what I'm saying? We want to talk about eigenvalues or something. We want to do derivatives and integrals. We want to knock out chain rule, product rule. We want to, you know what I'm saying? For mathematics, the maths. I wanted to start my first, at the University of YouTube, first math class, for real, and I don't want to be just something short, something simple. I want to, then we come back and scale down. Then we come back and make it more elementary. Math class, art. I've been doing a little something about this on the third, but art would be actually dope too, because like even if I had to like try and do some certain stuff, for me, like it's a natural type of thing with the art. But if there's like a skill I could pick up easily, but I don't know the name of the skill, and I think it just has to do with like lines, because there are people, and now there's this one girl. I actually bought, like, this was the first time I ever bought art. She she focuses on watercolors. And the thing about it though is this is the Beauty and Hearst episode. This is why there's like levels to it. Like, she can draw anything. But I'm not gonna say anything. She can draw any like animal and a generic person. Like if you tell her draw a man with a dog, she can do it, right? And she doesn't have to look at anything for reference. But her line work is, and the reason I say like there's a technical name for it, because another girl does this, but she focuses on portraits. But I think portraiture is a word. She focuses on portraiture. I'm gonna just say portraiture. She focuses on portraits, right? But her line work is the same or similar. Like it's a skill. She can, if she's gonna draw a person's face, it's the oval egg with the line here for the eyes, line here for the nose, and this is where the mouth is gonna be, and ears, and she just fills in the details. Shorty with the animals and the man, she does something similar. Like their line work is so clean, and you will also see this on like superheroes or characters, like how a person will, before they fill in the details, they draw like, oh, the head's gonna be here, the body's gonna look like this. They draw like that stick figure, but then they like build it up and they have this whole character. Yeah, something about the line work. That's an easy skill I could pick up. It's an easy skill I could pick up. I would just have to watch a video of somebody explaining it. You know what I'm saying? Like simply. No orange juice, apple juice, whatever simply flavor you like. But that's something I would do, right? I just need to know like what is it? What's it called? Line work. Because then you can just like I say, like you can just if you want to draw a woman in this position or a man and jumping off whatever, like they can do that. Um, Now this is also making reminded me of like there was this other art form, and this one was really cool. I forget what they call it, but it's like it'll be like it's almost it's abstract in a sense, but like they'll draw like let's say it was like this, right? They'll only draw like the hand with like detail, and the rest of it will be like the shape, kind of, sort of essence of the fact. And that might be one of those. I think there's a name for it technically, but it was one of those also like of trying to. One of the motivations for doing it is to try to increase your speed, and so you would okay. Well, what part do I really want to focus on? And like so, you would spend the time. So you would draw like the whole outline, but you would spend a lot of time on like the face or the foot or like because you're only going to be able to get so much detail within that. And so whatever you decide to emphasize would be just like you or your whatever. Um, so I wouldn't mind challenging myself in an art reference to pick up another skill. Um, we got the art. Now, art and math are the two that I need to add. PE class, physical education, or PT class, physical training, whatever. I have a playlist for like that, but do we want it to be like for sure like okay we're just doing let's just do max how many push-ups can we do, how many sit-ups can we do, um, how often are we going to have PE or class or anything like that, or how we can have any class. But like that's I like the the non-structure of it. We're just gonna have this class, or we're gonna have this class. Like it just kind of just go with the flow. But then a viewer could just look up whatever course or topic or class they want to talk about. So University of YouTube. Uh, the next ones would be to have like physics class, biology class, but they're all gonna under the notion of science. The math, just as general as what it is, but go from there. Other than that, yeah. Let me see. Anything else? What other type of classes? We had content creator class. Content creator class. I have an older video talk about how to edit. That's why I didn't really on the content creator class. I went so more so general of how it would scale out which topics or skills you probably want to focus on if you're going to be a content creator. So we had content creator class. We're talking other classes or topics to like have, but I think got the general basis at this point. At the general basis, you just need to add a segment for history class, math class, art class, art, art, math, and history, art, math, and history. Uh, I'm trying to think. You said you saw me today, so you're lying. You're a habitual liar. You lie for no reason. You just have a habit of lying. You're a habitual liar. Habitual liar. Wow. So it's like, why would you lie? Why you want to do that? The other part is you didn't speak. You speak, so what? You know what I'm saying? Let's go. You know what I'm saying? Even if we take it what you said is true, knowing that you didn't see me today. Psychology class. That's going to still fall under philosophy and rhetoric. Yes. Now, the reason I'm saying that's going to fall on the okay, yeah. So you didn't see me. You wish you saw me today. You'll never see me in your life. You'll never see me in your life. This is This is the only time you'll ever see me. Like, be comfortable with that fact. I don't never want you to see you. I don't ever want to see you. You'll never see me. Um, Philosophy is no. Psychology is going to fall under philosophy and rhetoric. You know, the way they used to think, how the human psyche develops and things like that, and the what's true and what's not, and how true. Like, and when I'm saying how true in the sense of there may be a partial to it, but not a whole thing. You know, it's the common, or a lot of people know the nature versus nurture. They can kind of can reference that. But which psychologist, if we're going to do psychology class, and if I do kind of what I just did earlier, like, I think Freud is the ego, super ego, and the id. I could be wrong, I could be right. But so who is it attached to? That thinking. Who called it that? The nature versus nurture. Now, these are where, like, the hierarchy of needs, I could phrase it as that, but that generally has a name, is Maslow hierarchy of needs. At the bottom is the food, shelter, water. At the top is self-actualization. Um, the nature versus nurture. Which psychologist is brought that terminology, that phrase, into of a staple in the psychology community? Um, the nature versus nurture. Nature is the biology, like the chemical makeup of a person, and this is why they would say or do behave a certain way. The nurture is the impact that their environment has on them of why they would do or say certain things. So psychology is that study of, human behavior, and they always kind of try to figure out why um, it's this way or that way. So nature versus nurture discussion generally just, if a person does for whatever they did, how much of it was a part of their natural, just, chemical makeup to behave a certain way. You know, the things that they say are inherited, uh, which is kind of stuff worth mentioning, like when they talk about uh, generational curses. Can you pass down trauma? You know what I'm saying? And, like, of a bloodline, blood that's shared between two people, like, you know what I'm saying, that being transferred and passed down generation to generation. Um, and I'm saying that they even say, like, kind of sort of what's like, uh, let me see. The more, okay, in a biology sense, for sure, we kind of think of like, oh, this is hereditary. Um, what's that? High blood pressure or anger problems, drinking issues, the overindulgence. There, how like some of those is like a person would be prone. So in a conversational sense, right? For the nature versus nurture. Let's say a person's mother was a heavy drinker, grandmother, even grandmother was a heavy drinker. Her daughter was a heavy drinker, and then you have this person. So their history in the family, there's a history of like a heavy drinker. The effects of it is not we're not going to focus on for the nature versus nurture, but it's the inclination to then be a heavy drinker, right? So the hereditary part is like it was like they're kind of sort of inclined, right? Kind of sort of inclined. That's just this habit that is in the family, but that's why like the nurture also comes into play in the sense of they then let's say that person doesn't end up being a drinker, but that's because they didn't grow up around their mother, you know what I'm saying, or and grandmother, and they grew up around a family that just not that this family was adamant about not drinking, but the family was uh, they just didn't. So there's like, yeah, well, my family just didn't, so I just don't. You know, that's the nurture. Now, some could on some even then, if we include like there was the negative impact that drinking had on the family. Some people just don't drink because it's like, yeah, I saw how it affected my grandmother, my mom, and this and that third. So I'm not going to do it because I don't want to have that attached to me. You know what I'm saying, type of thing. Or I just know that if I do pick up a bottle or what is that third, I know what it could potentially lead to, knowing how it affected them. You know what I'm saying? This very well could have been a whole bunch of call it. Yeah, so I'm just kind of start thinking, what are the causes, topics? But it's like right now, I'm letting the day to day, you know. Now, another topic that could be had at the University of YouTube? Now, because it's heavy on social media. And social media, most things fall into just a couple topics. There's only, I think, about like 4 or 5 topics. On social media, it either has to do with like money, relationships, you know what I'm saying, politics, religion. That's 4. Money, relationships, politics, religion. Yeah. If I include a 5th one, it's entertainment, sports, comedy, whatever. So that would probably every video, post, status, anything dealing with social media is of those 5 topics: money, relationships, politics, religion, entertainment. I need to write that down. I didn't think like topics for University of YouTube. Money, I just put a dollar sign. Religion, relationship, Money, religion, relationship. Politics. And entertainment. So, got a university or YouTube. I've touched on religion. Money is going to fall under, depending on the money concept. Money's going to fall under math, depending on the money concept. Uh, I don't have a section yet for. I have a playlist called Fake News, but politics, I don't have a class for that just yet. That could also fall under history, but I don't have a history video yet. Entertainment, you know, that's the things we can sit here and talk about. Like, definitely, depending on how it's, you know what I'm saying, phrased and what it kind of sort of is. That entertainment could just be in a couple different, you know, depending on what it's talked about or what's said. But like relationship, university or YouTube, which topic would that be? That's what I'm saying. Like, it could be its own little topic, like university, YouTube. We focus on relationships and, you know, conversations that could be had. Because, like, this is why I thought, like, I had this conversation earlier today. Well, technically now yesterday. But I thought that the eternal sunshine of the spotless mind would be a good question for, like, people who are in a relationship. There's situations, there's things that pop up conceptually. So, I guess I could. The easy one for on the relationship one, like the topic of this was like the year is the 50-50 thing. That was huge. It even came up today when they got divorced, cause the dude paid for everything. Now that's easy, not easy, but it's something that's it's a easy whatchamacallit because a lot of people talk about it and they constantly talk about it. Well, at the end of the day, it's like whatever works for y'all. Whatever works for y'all. Now, a a caveat that plays into that is the effect of social media, right? How like how do I say? Uh, Conceptually, it's okay, right? Like the 50-50 concept is like okay, like nothing's wrong with it, right? But because Shorty is scrolling on social media and she's seeing this or she's seeing that, it's she thinking like, oh well, nah, this they doing it like this, oh nah, they like so is the how do I say like there's a couple things that come up with that. One is like the normal average man uh salary, right? But it's gonna be I'm gonna do a lot for that. I might be finished with this. I'm gonna have to do a lot for that because I'm not sure exactly how to structure that conversation. Uh, uh, you the sometimes they talk about women want 666. Ah, people who be scared of that number. Why are they scared of that number? Like that can be that's a philosophy. That's a philosophy topic. Um, uh, they want a man that's 6 feet tall, has a six pack, and makes six figures. Do you know the percentage of men that make over six figures? And so why do you think the percentage of men that make over six figures, right? Okay, conversation for 80% of women want that and want that one man, and you want that one man to now be monogamous. That's the man that a lot of women want, and you want that one man to just want you. Like this, so there's that, right? Um, it's one of those type of things, and even in with that and all of that, does she work? Does she have to work? What type of even like environment does that like breed, or like of a person's whatever. So there's why I say like there's a lot of things to like talk about under that whole if that just being the topic. I'm even not sure like do you does it work? That's not the question. Does it work? Because conceptually it does, but and it can. Um, do you believe in it? Would you like to do it? Why or why not? And again, a big portion of that is the social media affecting, altering the view of that, like, and like I said, or what came up today earlier was the guy, uh, the couple that recently got divorced. He was known for paying for everything, right? So what does the woman, they like to say, bring to the table besides, you see what I'm saying? But another part of that relationship, in saying that, it was like I just said, a lot of women want that type of man, and you want that one man to just want you. Why? And so like, it's why, right? Why would you then expect that? Um, but in that relationship, there was another woman. So there were two women. What they were willing to deal with or accept, knowing that. Um, Another example is, now for some reason it worked with Neo. Neo got three of them things. It worked out with them. Uh, Stefan Diggs, right? And how many women are around present at any given point in time? Those type of things, right? Those type of things. So the whole 50-50 thing, right? And but I'm saying like those are men with a certain type of salary, income, and this and that, third, right? So then to expect like a man who could, you know, if he was by himself, right? There's this one phrase, being in a relationship is more expensive for a man and it's cheaper for a woman. Who's paying for the dates? Of like who wants to go out. It was this person's idea to go out, but then having the man pay for everything the woman wants to do. You see what I'm saying? Like, so who's providing the vibe here? um, Paying for everything a woman wants to do. So the woman just becomes this bill. Like, and this is just from the man's perspective. The woman becomes a bill, a liability. She's just gonna cost you money. And so it's cheaper just to be single. This man could afford himself. And then to bring a woman into it and expect for him to now have to cover, and we're now talking like a man, just like the financial stress that is put on a man to provide entirely for two people. He has to provide the food, the shelter, and entertainment for two people. And all he want to do for entertainment is just watch his TV or play his games. So, and then how like those type of problems with like, oh, you just want to watch TV, you just want to play the game. That's what I do. That's my thing. I don't want to like the things that you want to do. That's what you want to do, and I got to pay for that too. Like those type of stresses that a man will like a woman will put a man in those type of stresses and then leave him when he ain't got no money. And she the reason he ain't got no. So those are types of like those types of things coming into play. Uh, so and then oh well, why does like like the changing of certain stuff? Oh well, a man's supposed to do this and a woman's supposed to do that. They don't go to those like the men don't. Yeah, we don't have those type of women that the men go over to war over. Helen of Troy. Like, is there if and you know what I'm saying? If the men aren't what you call it, what type of women are there? What are the quality of women like? Sometimes they talk about like if if a person will you know what I heard today? Now this wasn't a news item that I read. There were two songs. One said, I don't like living like this, but I don't want to die. The other one, it said, I'll make the change if that means like you'll love me or some shit. It was something along those lines, bro. It was a song. It was like, I'll change if that makes it easier for you to love me or something like that. I was like, what? But there's two things with that. Willing to be able to make a change. You're going to make this change for what reason, right? And then that woman leaves you. And it's when you see that, come on, get this point here. Okay, the woman leaves you. So the reason you made this change was for her. And then, so what then happens? You revert back because that was the reason you made the change. Whether that was supposed to be for good or for the betterment of your whatever. you made this change for this woman, and then she ends up leaving you anyway. She gonna settle for less, so why do more? So, but again, that could be applied to like, women as well. A woman might start, she's like, oh well, he's physically fit. She gotta get into a gym. The woman might start working out, you know what I'm saying, because their man is physically fit. That man leaves them, they go back to being fat. Because she wasn't working out anyway. It just wasn't, and the motivation 2 and 4 wasn't intrinsic. The motivation 2 and 4 wasn't intrinsic. So yeah, I gotta figure that out. I'll figure that out. Those were a couple. Those were a couple of topics. It was sparked by the 50-50 thing, but um, but because I kind of sort of didn't do like it's like the like I said like this could just fall under philosophy and rhetoric or those type of things. Like it could just be a philosophy and rhetoric class. Do you believe in 50-50? But like it's the more like the effect of relationships. No, social media effect on relationships. Because another one of those is Kanye recently vocal stem. Kanye was like, Instagram got your bitch. Instagram got your bitch. Like he was like, what did he say? Like she gonna post like on her story or just in her like before you ain't seen these pictures. You like, I ain't see this or that. What she gonna post it for Instagram, but not and she ain't seen you those 4 attachments. And it's like, why, right? And fishing, for that I'm just gonna say like she fishing for a bigger bag, or for this person to talk to her, or that person to talk to her. And those be the things that you don't even whatchamacallit, right? She gonna like if she sees this guy, and she with you gonna be the one she lied to or lie about, you know. But she might post her workout video because she see that this guy's an athlete and he works out, so she want him to see that. And you're like, well, dang, you ain't send this to me. Was you send it to Instagram? Who you want to see this? You know what I'm saying? Brittany Renner. Now this was okay. Brittany Renner. For what you do and don't know, because it would be like, what do you know about Brittany Renner? What you don't know about her, this and the third, right? So, and it was just like last month. So Shiloh has a video, and him, Brittany Renner, and this other guy go out to like it's a food, it's Chinese store. It's a Chinese store that has like 70 like, so it was like actually on the news. So Shiloh in the video, Shiloh like, we're going to this restaurant. It has like 70 violations, and like there was a news report on this whole thing. Like they made the news for being like this bad, whatever, right? So Shiloh, Brittany Renner, and this other guy, they go to like, all right, we're gonna try this food out. They get like chicken wings, sesame chicken, ribs, and what's the other one? It was sesame chicken. Maybe it might have been sweet and sour chicken. I think it was like sweet and sour. And so, like again, of the come on, well, you know how like so this is why I say like, you want to talk about Kanye, like all the negative whatchamacallit, we also gotta, the praise has to be as loud as the criticism. So I wanted to really whatchamacallit, like Brittany Renner gets a lot of negative press. This video with Shiloh was one of the, and I just had to whatchamacallit, it was one of the like of seeing her in a positive light, and she's not on this crash out. It's not like she's not argumentative. She's not this and that there, right? I want to like commend, and whether it was him, his vibe, her, whatever, um, it was nice to see her in where she's not crashing out. She's not argumentative, and she's laughing and answering the questions, and because they asking her questions and they make it like and addressing certain stuff. So like one of the things was um for what you do and don't know of her, right? Brittany Renner, she when she got married for 30 days to Kevin Gates, right? Um, and converted to Muslim. And then it was like, yeah, as soon as she left that relationship, go back to shaking her. You know what I'm saying? Shaking her, showing her. So, um, what was funny, you know what I'm saying? Shalom was like, oh, we got to pray. Before we eat this food, we got to pray, right? He said, say the prayer. So she was like, oh, funny guy. He was like, oh, say the prayer. She was like, oh, funny guy. He was like, she was like, well, who we praying to? He's like, well, which prayer you gonna say? So, um, like, but that's a way of like addressing that, and you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, I know that this ain't third, boom, boom. Uh, but yeah, even after her relationship questions, thanks for the clutch. Thanks for the clutch. I appreciate that. Thanks for the gift. Even asking her relationship questions, and she's answering them. She's answering them, and again, she's laughing, joking. They were going through like giving like not a tour, like basically like a tour of like not a tour, but like he was like going to the bathroom. What you think about the bathroom? How clean is it? Or what you think about the presentation? And just her whatchamacallit. And I think that would be like it's uh she could do more of that type of thing. Like she could like daggone do more food stuff. Like she could just do that where it's simple. You know, who she goes out with, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? But it's it was nice to see her in that space and realm, and it wasn't a negative thing for her of her, and she was able to talk about a lot of topics or whatever, and especially with the relationship, John. But but I basically saying it was like this. It was a positive, you know what I'm saying, showing for Brittany, and so the one thing now she talked about like so it's like some of the stuff that kind of like comes up, right? um she if a person, they have these telltale signs in the things that they in the irrelevant information they don't think is relevant, but if you like to focus on it, like there's these telltale signs. So like she was like, oh, you can post this, and oh, you can post on video of you gonna stay with your favorite rapper and da da da, like so you can tell like of being posted and not being posted. And again, these are the effects of social media on relationships. And so she was like, you make a video for if you're gonna work out, you make a post if you're gonna get this new car, but like you're not gonna show off your girlfriend. So she's like, well, why can't you just answer? Now, Shiloh did have a good retort for that. And he was like, um, posting your girls like posting money. You don't want to do that too much, not even at all. That that was the thing. That was that was that was that's a bar. That's a bar. Posting your girl is like posting money. You don't want to do that too much, not even at all. Um, well, now because there's a couple things there's some couple things you can talk about with that, right? Um, mm, the one shorty in that group chat that got like shown, it was, she was like, whenever his teammates or anything try to talk to you or make advances at you, you shut that down. Now, the reason for it though was, let's say if that relationship don't work out with him, then in the next one, they consider you like gold because they know that you're gonna be shutting down. Like, if anybody tries to approach you or talk to you, you're not gonna be talking to them. You see what I'm saying? Um, Also, it's now you hear the rhetoric in regards to, not you hear with, yeah, you hear this logic with a woman posting her man, and it's the, well, shorties were like, well, if she happy, if this man is making her happy, what can she do to get with that? Like, she know that this man is making this woman happy. Um, Now, if you post your shorty, and because sometimes some people, and it's a thing, and this and there, but like, if you post your shorty, right, and then somebody like, oh, I know shorty, but they know her for X, Y, and Z. She used to da 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 woo woo woo. I know her because of da 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 woo woo woo. Some people they don't even want to hear that. Now, she already tried with the facts, not car facts, whole facts. You see what I'm saying? So, oh, whoop whoop, you ain't even trying to hear it. Um, so it's now Brittany Renner. Now, the thing about her is her life is social media. So a lot of things she says, or which and third, she saw it on a meme or something. You know, that's my like ding. Like sometimes when I hear certain people talk, I'm like, oh, that was a meme. I saw this meme. I know what you're referencing. The only reason you think like this or saying this because this was a meme. You know, she talks about the whole private versus secret, and it's like this thin line to walk, right? It's a thin line to walk with that, right? Why do you even have to, carry it this way? You know what I'm saying? People in your business or this and the third. But like I say, let's say that you don't mind, but because of this and the third, like the Brittany Renner thing, she was like, oh, you make a post for the new car or your dog, but you're not going to post me. And so, like, but you don't want that people necessarily in your relationship or to know this and the third. And so these were those other parts of coming where it's like, um, well, uh, okay, uh, with public relationships and things like that, right? When it doesn't work out, well, Christy and Desmond, it was, even though she or him did not necessarily want to come out about X, Y, and Z, it was, oh man, I noticed she not wearing her ring no more. He not in a certain number of videos anymore. And now that's sparking questions and making people rise, and they're like, yo, but it's like you had this public relationship, and then there's the public fallout as well. So like that's a reason you like, yeah, I don't even want to whatchamacallit, because now you have to have this public fallout. Um, and even something going along with that, like, right, of a public fallout and who's vocalizing it, right? So it's like a shorty sitting there saying, oh, I'm single. I done broke up with such and such. Why everybody need to know that you're single now? Because it was always a dude that was watching, waiting for this moment. let me just let everybody know I ain't but I'm letting everybody know I'm single now. So some people just like I'm gonna just avoid that whole dynamic, right? Um, so it's like, well, why would you or why would you not post? You know what I'm saying? Just that third. And some people just so happy to finally do have somebody, right? And even just saying, oh, this my person, or I got this, you know what I'm saying? Like, you so pressed for that. You know what I'm saying? Like, of being, because there is a notion of like, you stand alone as a person and your happiness isn't dependent upon a relationship or this person type of thing. So then there's people who like they post nothing but that, and it's always da 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 like. And again, you got people in your business, but that's because that's the business that you posting. Some people just don't mind. You know what I'm saying? Now marriage, um, then even with that, a person. Now some people just had like to at least have it of this respectable sense, like you know that like okay, this person is that third, it's you know that person is in a whatchamacallit type of thing. You know that they're in a relationship or whatever. Like, oh, even if they're not, you know that like okay, well, like, um, so the effect of social media on relationships. You know what I'm saying? The effect of social media on relationships. Um, there hasn't been like a lot of, if any, can you think of any positive? You know what I'm saying? Well, the one positive that's also a negative is so for instance, the amount of people who like again, the one thing about social media and like older relationships and why things have kind of sort of changed, the dynamic is you didn't all you knew was Sally and Susan on your block. You see what I'm saying? And you didn't know about Jessica in a whole nother state. So now with the social media, it's like, well, I don't need Sally or Susan. I'm gonna fly Jessica out. You know what I'm saying? Or I'm gonna go to another city and I'm gonna go get some Jessica. Like now it's those types of things um, of being a part of the relationship. And now the positive is like, oh, now that you know that there is another option out there, like you're not limited to, I guess, even the ones that you may or do like or like a little bit. Now it's, oh, well, I really like this one over here, you know? Um, the downside of like with certain stuff is uh, you thinking that you do have more options. And it's like, you know what? I'm about to just go with one. Or, you know what I'm saying? It's, yeah, like, because they talk about the triviality of like people now in relationships. Is like, you know what? At the inside, the moment there's friction or this and third tension, and I'm not about to deal with this. I'm gonna go deal with somebody new. You know what I'm saying? And it's just I'm gonna just go deal with somebody new. Um, so and again, like the seeing, oh well, they doing this like they doing it like this over here. Let me go deal with this person. Um, and how like the envy of it of like, oh well, I see how this person, you got this relationship and y'all go out. This is just for conversation purpose. Like y'all go out on once a month, but these that over here they going out like every day. So it's like I won't go deal with her. I'm gonna go deal with her because she going all the time. You see what I'm saying? It'd be those type of things. But the woman could be like, oh, you know, he such and such X, Y, and Z. But then like those be the other parts of like, oh, um, where it's like you gotta be like for some reason they're not thinking about it like in this sense of regard, but like just for example, right? Um, the man that she with, is paying for him and her to live under this household. So like his electricity, his water, all these bills is going up, right? Covering whatever dates that he can cover. But then there's a single man who is willing to buy her certain gifts, and uh, but he's single, so it's like she with the guy that he has like this increase of bills because he's with her, right? And so he doesn't have that then extra expendable income to then also get her these certain types of gifts. But then there's a guy, so but she's willing to go with the guy who's going to just trick on her or whatever. But he is single. So he like those extra bills, the extra whatever is like he got that extra spendable income to just I'm gonna get you these shoes. I'm gonna get you this, that, and the third. Or I'm gonna take you on this trip. I'm gonna take you. We're gonna go here. We'll go there. He can do that, but he don't gotta. He doesn't have to afford you on a day-to-day basis. It's like the people who kids and stuff. Like it's like this person because they got kids. That kids ties up their extra time, energy, and money. And then the person without kids, that time, energy, extra money, all that stuff is they're going for trips. They're going for they're buying themselves stuff. They able to go out on the weekends and this and that, right? So, but for some reason, like the shorty just won't understand that. The shorty she don't understand that this man is providing for her, whatever it is, and his extra income is tied up in that. So he can't do that and the extra trips and gifts and this and that. You see what I'm saying? And like I say, like the men who are able to then do that, right? A man who is able to provide and get you gifts and take you trips. Well, shit, he can do that for you. He can do that for who else? Any other. You see what I'm saying? Because now like, what are you adding to his life? That inner you ass and shit for you know what I'm saying. This and the third. He can go get ass from this and he providing for X, Y, and Z too. You see what I'm saying? Like it's at that point if you get with a man who is providing, who can cover living expenses, traveling, and gifts, what do you bring to the table? If we're going to talk about it like in that sense, you just ask. You just see what yeah. I can go get this pussy somewhere else. I can afford yours. I can afford this one. I got all these cats. I can afford cats from around the world. There is no, you don't provide anything and can be replaced. And so like that's why I say back to the people who got divorced when he was just flexing with this and that, boom, boom. What even you are regarded as. And how does it, you know what I'm saying, the dynamics of how things go from there. Uh, yeah, if we want to start bringing in like self-worth and how some will think that that is okay, right? But it's just like generally, right? Just generally, like you got Neo, like you know what I'm saying, Chris Brown, you know what I'm saying. I'm just generally like on some. If they can provide all of this and a third, what do you bring to the table? There's nothing special about you and another woman. There's no difference between you and another woman. And so like this is why it's like just like this reality check, like, yo. Oh, that's what it was like, well, yeah, well, I'll even say just the way he treated her, right? Just the way he even treated her. what she was then relegated to, you know? And it's once you are now relegated to that of what you're used to and things that you might think is okay and then having to whatchamacallit, right? So mind you, with this divorced couple, mind you that man was paying for everything in the same third, boom, boom, boom. But then like, so now what does she have to do, right? And now the pressure that she would then put on the next guy, and she's now gonna put this pressure on this next guy, and he's like, well, this ain't that. You see what I'm saying? Um, or even how she go ahead and kind of sort of think things are supposed to go. And it's just like there's this reality sense of like, no, things don't usually go like this in this realm. You see what I'm saying? Again, uh, yacht girls, if you do and don't know what that kind of sort of refers to, it's the things that those type of women are then will accept, allow, and what they are then relegated to. Um, so yeah, those type of like that relationship, yeah, it has its perks, but it does have its downsides. And so, are you willing? It's like what are you willing to sacrifice for that lifestyle? What are you willing to sacrifice for that lifestyle? Is it worth it? You know what I'm saying? Um, another thing I'm kind of sort of like trying to like, I just thought about like, and 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 I get it, uh, but like, I think the concept we were talking about yesterday or the other day was like, well, if if a majority of the wealth is towards women, like if women have the majority of the wealth, and again, it was touched on in a Brittany Renner and Shiloh video, like who do you think like cheats more? But the common notion is that women cheat either more frequently or they're just better at it, which still kind of still ties into each other. Like women are better at cheating because they also cheat more. And guys are sloppy with it, and which is the reason they get caught up more. You know what I'm saying? But the question or the thing to talk about is like if women had, you know what I'm saying, the money and men had to, well, if the women, so then therefore the women are doing more, like mind you, they doing the choosing anyway. But then if a woman had to say like, if if women got to this notion of like, okay, the women have the money now, so they're not looking at a man for money, right? And then again, it's the, well, you just need the man for procreation, and you just need the man for like those you don't want to take out the trash, or you don't, you know, fixing a car, and you know, stuff like that. Um, would there be more monogamy? You know what I'm saying? And would women even want to be more monogamous if money, um, uh, and and it, and there's like the whole concept of like the money thing, right? Um, of how much with the money, like the monogamy of a person, right? I guess the question is, do you think that women would be more monogamous if they had the money? You see what I'm saying? Like the if things were like completely flip swap whatever, and women uh, were the providers, and like it's just kind of sort of like known in society, like women are providers, right? So if women are providers, would they be more monogamous? Now, the because and this is a it's one of those scary things, but it's a very real reality for a lot of women. They don't know who the daddy is. And Shorty the other day, she hit up 3 different guys so she could get the money for an abortion. And that's how she got the money. She hit. So that told you what? She was messing. There were 3 guys that she was active with that was willing to send the money. That was one, and there are plenty of them. That lets you know how non-monogamous women generally are. Don't know who the daddy is, and so she hit up 3 different guys to get the money for an abortion. So that's the one thing, like when it comes down to like a man can impregnate 3 women at one time. Stephon Diggs, he had like 4 kids within 1 year. A woman can only get pregnant once within a 9-month time period, barring a preemie, right? So that's one of the big uh, things about the whole thing is like, if this woman gets pregnant, the man is basically like, well, with my inheritance, who's going to inherit that? And he wants to make sure that boom. But like the woman, I'm trying to like, okay, if the woman had all the money and they were providers, would they be more monogamous? Where money is not their motive for sleeping with more a different guy. They don't need to depend on a guy for this and the third. Um, you kind of sort of see like don't now I can't really use Lotto as an example. And now actually it's a couple things, right? The Lotto There's a couple things that pop up with Lotto's situation. Uh with Lotto's situation, um uh one of Lotto's biggest flexes is she can put her body count on one hand. A lot of women can't. So that's where it was like one of the things about it was Lotto can put her body count on one hand. A lot of women can't do that. And so it may have been annoying for a lot of people to just for always to sit here and say that, but at the same time, a lot of women couldn't. So one of the things about it was, with the comparison. Um, but I bring up Lotto in a sense because she's one that's like what would be considered like well off with the money, and so you see how kind of sort of like if she found someone still of the tax bracket of the Senate third, boom, boom, where they don't have to worry about, da da da, woo, woo. Um, uh, where what was it? She, because some things come down to like, okay, well, is it her? You see what I'm saying? Or what am I trying to say? Would that be the overall in general? Would a woman just say like, all right, well, I'm good with all my money, and would a woman just like she would just like, well, okay, I'm okay with sticking with this man here, not because her money, she doesn't have this money motive to sleep with another guy, whether it's for gifts, trips, or whatever lifestyle is. She doesn't have this motivation for this man to provide for her in any other sense. You know what I'm saying? Um, Now, the reason the other part is because you rarely, right? When I'm not gonna say rarely, but like uh the a woman cheating for yeah for right now I'm gonna say rarely, but a woman cheating for the emotional aspect, it generally takes a bit longer for that to be the actual reason. A woman cheating for the emotional aspect, and I'll say this in a sense of like, I'm not sure who I can give like in a real life example, but a woman who gets with a man, you know, for whatever monetary aspect it is, right? And usually it's she's able to deal with a lot and willing to accept a lot. Um, and like in the one that of the recent one with the married couple, she was okay with even having another woman. Like, oh, Cardi B, it's the other woman isn't the whatchamacallit, right? It's I don't know. It may be a whatchamacallit though. That may be whatchamacallit, because even Cardi B, like with Cardi, she is not. It's another woman being in a relationship is not her hang up, because you saw what happened with Stephon Diggs. She was okay with the other women. She didn't like the lion. She ain't like that. Offset would lie about it, and where this thing with Stephon Diggs is everything's out in the open. Um, and you know she has her own money. She got her own bag. So I don't know. I think, and you know, sometimes you like if you tie stuff to like if you make this generality, this is why you got to qualify your statements. But is it that just that simple? But like Cardi B, for in a sense, it did seem, now mind you, because X, Y, and Z, but she started doing other things that were like a little more petty and this and the third. But I don't know. It may seem that if a woman is financially well off, potentially she is more monogamous, potentially. Um, Now, of course, like all of them aren't going to fall into that, you know, category or that subset, but um, and like I said, Lotto seems to be like she just locked in with this and third. You know, she locked in with 21, and she's been that way for a little minute. And she's like well off. Uh, I just you just don't hear that, right? Even if and it's just like okay, well, if you sat here and had to sit here and think about it, what woman do you know that is financially well off that is promiscuous? Megan Thee Stallion. But that, but Megan, it seems even if you say Megan, right? It seems that it's usually the guy who's like leaving. The reason that Megan seemed and the reason that Megan seems promiscuous is because it seems like the guy will just leave. And she just won't spend that time by herself to do the X, Y, and Z, and this and the third, like to be comfortable by herself. But still, she will then just have another guy or so. But even then, like she will try to like be with someone, you know what I'm saying? And now her trying to paint them as a villain, that's a whole nother story, that's a whole nother thing. But why it don't work out. Um, but I mean, for the most part, yeah, right? For the most part, yeah. If I make a general blanket statement, you can try to get some pushback if you want to. But for the most part, a woman is more, a woman who is financially stable is more monogamous. But most women aren't financially stable, which is a reason why the whatchamacallit generally comes up. And I was trying to say like you read not rarely, but just you don't usually see or hear a story where it's like the woman, um, a woman cheating, like her cheating or leaving is for emotional purposes. Yes, I think that's what I'm trying to say. Like it ain't really emotional. Like she can try to say, oh, that I won't, but like there's it's it takes a lot longer for her to be like, you see what I'm saying? Like, oh, she's not emotionally whatchamacallit. So uh she gonna mess with this guy for the emotional fulfillment. You see what I'm saying? Um and then my caveat to that would be if she is, I would go back to the, you know what I'm saying? Now, this is why I would need like a woman to share her perspective. But because I'm saying, like, of a man even having like that notion, that mental energy just being tied up into how much he has to provide for her, right? I'm not sure uh, see, only one that comes to mind is like with Kadeen and Duvall. Now, he asked this question that kind of like comes up, and it's like, why does a woman push for a monogamous relationship if her sex drive is not as high as the man's? So and he had to rephrase it a couple of times. Now her when she finally was able to answer the question, it was because, but it was like kids involved. She was like, oh, because of the kids, having to do X, Y, Z around the house. Her then energy, it was just like, okay, now the whatchamacallit, it wasn't to then still be able to whatchamacallit. That's why her sex drive had went down. Um, but yeah, I don't I don't think it's of a whatchamacallit, bro. I'm really trying to figure out like the phrasing for it, but like a woman who like leaves a relationship because she's not emotionally like fulfilled. And I think I was basically about to say like she's not taking into the account of everything that the man is sitting there providing for or doing or this and the third. And this where like some of those like nuances, because I know like one guy, he was like, the woman, she talks a lot and the man doesn't, but he really doesn't mind listening. Like, so he was really okay with that. And she like needed that type of thing. Like, cause he is listening, but he doesn't talk too much. And so he will like, but he'll, every once in a while, he'll ask her a question or make a statement, and that lets her know that he is listening, but he just don't want to talk too much. But he's fine with like listening. I'm trying to think like of actual where like the sole reason. You see what I'm saying? Like it's like I'm trying to think. I don't really ever like, you know what I'm saying? Like, because the reason I'm saying is think of like whatever, like your friends, right? And when has one of your girl friends ever was just on some like the sole reason that they cheated or was because of an emotional thing? And that's the only, what you call it. I don't think any of my friends have ever like that was the sole reason. You see what I'm saying? Because I was also mentioning like if not take if they're not taking into account everything else that this person also provides for them. So, um, and it's worth kind of sort of mentioning that again, for whatever reason, and I don't know how this even like whatchamacallit, they'll say that a woman matures faster emotionally. So why do women depend on men for emotional stability? This man has to be this emotional rock. He should not. He his emotions should not be movable. You know what I'm saying? He should just under third, right? Um, I'm trying to think if I've ever, you know what I'm saying, met a woman, and so like that's the other part I'm saying, trying to say, right? Have you like any of your friends that are women know, like that the sole reason that they cheated was because of the lack of emotional fulfillment. There's like always other stuff, and money can be like a big one, right? Money can be like a big one. Like there's some there'll be like for some reason there'll be like this financial part of like for real that's also tied in. You see what I'm saying? Like oh what like and so but basically what I'm trying to say is like they cheated because this man fulfilled them solely emotionally. Like she cheated because this man gave her compliments and like what the emotional aspect. You know what I'm trying to say? Like whatever it is that this woman needs to uh, that void emotionally, this man only that was the only and sole reason, right? Because the thing that I would kind of sort of mention is like, okay, whether it's like the stresses she was going through or X1, it's like you see how like there is because it would be like, okay, you're you know what I'm trying like she okay. If a woman this man fulfilled her emotionally solely and that's it. And that's why she cheated. And it's like um why you see what I'm saying? Why? Because this is what I'm saying prospectively. She was not able to understand like why the man that she's with was not able to be there for her in that regards. And I'm saying that to say like if another man is the reason she cheated was only this emotional reason. This that was the only thing that this man provided to her. What she wasn't. So I'm trying to figure out those type of. Oh my goodness, it's a frog. Hey Frogger, that joint literally hopped like 3 spaces. He was like doot doot doot, and then just stopped. So I guess he wants to be a part of the conversation. Okay, so if that's the only reason that she cheated, right? The sole emotional reason. And so that this man, the only thing this man fulfilled was like this emotional part. So it's like, well, what could those emotional parts be like? Is it compliments? Is it a venting? Like, cause she's venting about her day. Um, she's venting about her day, and um, what would be the other things that another man could provide for her emotionally, right? the compliments, words of affirmation, and or compliments, words of affirmation, and just the emotional vent stress, right? For it's the like I going back to earlier in the conversation, not the neglecting of thinking everything, all the other things that her man is providing for her, and then he just slips and he loses the ball on like giving her a compliment on her dress this day, or he's so tired from work he doesn't have, you know what I'm saying, to just sit there and listen to like what she's venting and complaining about of her day, or she's now interested in doing X, Y, and Z, and how much he has to try to be a cheerleader for her in that sense. But yet, women are more emotionally mature than men. You see what I'm saying? And there's just like this, and I'm just speaking from a man's perspective because I don't have a woman here to talk about her side, but like she is not realizing like, oh man, like he had a long day at work, or and he probably does just want to turn his brain off. Women talk about how they want to turn their brain off. You see what I'm saying? Women talk about how they want to turn their brain off around a man. So so if you even like think about that, then it's how much does a man have to keep his brain on? Mentally taxing, mentally draining. You see what I'm saying? Um, Mentally taxing, mentally draining. And he can't cut his brain off. He can't have a moment where he can just relax because that's what you want to do. And again, I'm trying to like emphasize the part like of that emotional part of why she may have cheated, but not then thinking and taking into account what the other parts of what he would have maybe had to try to provide. That, and like I just said, that like that's mental energy, like the physically just showing up, you know what I'm saying, those type of things. Um and like we already talked about like which one, and like the, you know what I'm saying, just the unfairness, you know what I'm saying, the unfairness. um like that's why uh um of everything of what a person has to provide and whatnot, but like taking into account like um I think I was gonna say the word selfish. I think I was gonna say that. You know what I'm saying? That like how selfish that can be. You know what I'm saying? Um, for a person to, and like how if that's the case, right? And it's like, well, dang, you need this person. This person is now your emotional crutch. And why are you not Why can't you handle that? Why do you need whatever it is emotionally to be fulfilled by someone else, and then to fault them for that when they provided on so many other different accounts, and yet you're going to fault them for this, and that'll be the reason you cheat, or say that you cheated. The sole reason, like that'll be your sole reason for cheating, because this person didn't emotionally, you know what I'm saying, show up at certain times. um And again, you know what I'm saying? It would, because you would think that it would be hard for like, dang, they don't never give you compliments. They don't never support you or your endeavors, even if there's words of encouragement, or they don't ever, you know what I'm saying, listen to you or nothing like that. So it's just like, it's just not what, it's a more so like a matter of, it's just not enough. Um, So yeah, I hardly. He did. The frog did like three more hops. I would throw something at it, and I would try to maybe even turn the camera around, but it would be kind of hard to see, like because it kind of like blends in. The frog isn't like a particular color, like red or blue or something, to easily be seen. More like red, or I don't want to say red, blue. What color would stick out? I don't know. It's just not like a color that would stick out right now against the ground. So yeah, I just it's rare. If ever you see a woman that was just not emotionally fulfilled, and then there's always the whole thing of, well, why didn't you just leave, and why did you have to cheat? Type of joint. That comes with any type of cheating, right? Why didn't you just leave? Why did you stay within this relationship? Um, like because that's like the always the end all, what you call it, of the okay, well, why didn't you just leave? Now, for some reasons, that some people do have that whole like, how do you leave a relationship for real? You know what I'm saying? In the sense of like, how do you leave it? And you know what I'm saying? Have that. Now I was talking earlier yesterday. It did come up like those type of conversations. How do you really truly like? A lot of people avoid conversations. How do you really avoid a conversation like, yeah, um, this ain't working out, or you know what I'm saying? Because when you have reached that point, right? When you have reached that point, and of just saying like, I think I'm ready. I'm done with this relationship, right? And now some people do have the conversation, right? But of having that conversation, because the thing when you say like when you would say to a person, I'm done with this, I'm this and third, what are they then probably going to say or do? Oh, I can do this, all right. Well, you want to try this? Like they're going to try to give you all these extra stuff, but you're already done. You see what I'm saying? Oh, I can do this, I can do that. You already done. Yeah, try to make it work. Like, yeah, it just ain't. You try to make it. They try to do it. Say X, Y, and Z, and it's just like performative. You know, like the word performative. I like the word performative this year. It's performative. Yeah, this ain't really. It still ain't. It still ain't cutting. I'm just done. I'm just done. How do you have that conversation where to break up? Okay, you can be. Bro. I would rather have no one watch me if it's just only you watching me. So yeah, it's a oh man, it's the that comes with relationships. And then it's like now that I didn't talk to like all this in depth, I'm not gonna make its own little separate thing. I'm not gonna make its own little separate thing. Um, but yeah, then but this was all sparked by the whole 50-50 thing, right? Again, uh, the downside of it is the again like the notion the effect that social media has and seeing like, oh well, they do it this way and I want to go like this and that and that. Okay, well you see, like the one thing with like I guess like life and things like that, you you can look at and view like, okay, well if if under certain conditions and situations like we see like we have enough evidence of like how it plays out, you know, so and the ones of where this and the third like, well I don't see people that with the X Y and Z. Yeah, because they're good. They good with each other and it's working for them. They got this. They good with that. They making it work. They always have the 50-50 in the sense of like money, but like, you know, just like any and all types of like the whole parts of like life, you know, like again, like, you know, like the cooking and cleaning type of thing. Like, Now, because some people are like, yo, if this person cooked, the person that cooks shouldn't be washing their dishes. And then there's some people who clean as they cook, um, or who's taking out the trash and like. But I'm saying like the divvying up of all types of the whole. Just I said life, like you did this part and I'm doing this part, and like some people, I'm taking out trash. You wash the dishes. I don't want to clean. I don't want to wash the dishes. You know what I'm saying? The cooking. All right, well, you see what I'm saying? Because that is one of the notions of like, well, shoot, if she had to cook and she gotta wash the dishes, that'd be her own thing. You see what I'm saying? You ate off. You just, you know what I'm saying? Or just not there. So, but like the divvying up the whole 50-50, like, you know what I'm saying? It ain't. Now one of those types of Jones. I think it just switched. Yeah, it did. Okay. Well, the other type of John is like, okay, in the math sense, 50 divided by 50 is 1 over 1, right? So that's how some people like of the 100-100. Like, I'm giving my all, and you're giving your all. You know what I'm saying? Um, I'm giving my everything I can to this relationship. This is why I like finding those like complimentary, like, well, like it's some people are just like, well, I do this really well, and I I don't want to think about X, Y, and Z. So this person doesn't do it. Like, oh, I don't do this. I don't need. And so like that's what I'm saying. Like it's like they give their all to the relationship. Both the man and the woman are both giving their all to the relationship. And so where this one falls at, this one um, is good at or excels at. Uh, that's why it's like that notion of 50-50 kind of sort of like it kind of got people like locked into like the monetary aspect. But like if we just equate that to like energy or you know what I'm saying, and then there are those times where it's like like uh the swing of emotions and energy, right? um how do I say that? The swing of it where it's like, okay, if a person is like emotionally depressed, right? They're probably going to be depressed for a period of time, right? It's not like, oh, just a day or just a couple minutes. You see what I'm saying? Um, and so where the other person is going to have to step up for a period of time emotionally. You see what I'm saying? And it's not going to be 50-50. Like this person is going to have to emotionally carry themselves and the other one for a period of time. You know what I'm saying? Because this person is depressed. Like depression doesn't last a day. It could last 2 weeks. You know what I'm saying? And so like that's where it's like finding someone who is like that's why it's like, okay, like I'm willing to do that for this person. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes that is another thing, right? It's like those limits and boundaries. Like I don't, yeah, like because I have like you know what I'm saying, like a lot of people on this joint. I'm like, yeah, I don't. I'm not about to like argument or something. I don't care. I don't care about you, the situation. I don't care nothing about nothing enough to argue with you, right? Um, and sometimes it's just like you just don't care enough to argue, but you know what I'm saying. So it's like of someone finding and being with someone that even in those moments, yeah, it's for lack of a better, like you like you know what, I am showing up for this argument. I will because you care about them that much type of thing. Some people in just certain things just like, yeah, I don't care about you enough to argue or continue arguing. I don't care about you or the situation that much. Um, so okay. I was just saying like sometimes, even if we do relegate it to the monetary sense, there are sometimes like there are some people who, I know people like this. Like they were like, yo, like she lost her job, and so like that's one of those big things. Like it came up to like a house. It was like housing, and they were like, well, we need to find a house, so just in case anything happens, we'll be good off this person's income. Um, and so like some of those type of things, like if it takes a month or three and this one person has to carry the mortgage for a period of time that they can. You know what I'm saying? It's not like, oh, get a mortgage where it like only one person's income. Like you were like it's not smart to get a mortgage where you need both incomes. You see what I'm saying? Because then if one income falls off, or like, because one thing that came up was like, um, there was this thing where the shorties had to record the man's response to like, shorty was like, "Oh, I'm gonna pay the mortgage this month," or try to get his response to something about paying the mortgage, and some dudes was like, "You ain't never paid the mortgage." One dude was like, "How much the mortgage cost?" He was like, "You only how much the mortgage cost? You don't know how much the mortgage costs. You ain't never paid no mortgage." You know what I'm saying? Um, but like in those type of situations where it's like, if the man lost his source of income, she then couldn't pick it up. You see what I'm saying? So that's why some of those things are like in a, you know what I'm saying? It's sort of, just in that type of thing. Um, oh, it's not to say certain stuff will work out, but and again, sometimes some I'm only just relegating this to like just because this of what you kind of sort of see. Some is like, you know what, their wife. Oh, this was like a dope. This one was like super dope. The man did pay for everything. The wife paid for all trips, or if the family went out to eat. So that was one thing. Like, and they had a family trip every year. So like he paid for mortgage and all the utilities and all the bills and whatnot, but her income went to planning. All family trips. She paid for all family trips. If they went out to eat, any type of like the outings, she paid for. That her income went to all the outings. Um, and like that's like, like, because I was always about to say like how sometimes, like I remember, now it's like just one of the things. My ex from Connecticut, she, I liked her because it was, I don't know what of the fun things to try to do or whatever. She would have like, oh, I want to go to this, I want to go to that, I want to go to this, I want to go to that. So I was basically about to say like how sometimes, you know, the woman is like that, you know what I'm saying, entertainment type of piece of like, man, I don't want to think about how to do X, Y, and Z or what to do. And she like, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that. Like she was fun in that sense. Um, she was fun in the sense like I didn't have to think about like, she was like, okay, I want to go here, let's go do this or let's go do that. Like, you know, um, it was basically I was saying like how some like that is their component or like that's their thing. Like they're good. Like she was good for that. You know what I'm saying? Like some like, oh, we need to get out of the house. It's not that remote. But like if you can or cannot afford to like get out or do X, Y, and Z. But me and her weren't living together, so yeah, we were. So like the thing about her, we like it was cool, like long distance relationship. Like, well, there's a long distance relationships. There's a lot of pros and cons with that. But like one of the things that helped make it work for as long as it did was once a month or I'm not sure if we did twice a month. We definitely like traded off. Like if I went to go see her, she would come see me, right? Either I would drive over there or she might catch the train. Um, I think we switched off with months as far as that. Like 1 month I would go up there for her, but it was mandatory. You know what I'm saying? Like it was mandatory. Um, I I would make sure I had to go up there to see her, and then the next month she would have to make sure she comes see me. Um, and now I'm just I guess now this part of the conversation is long distance relationships, but like communication has to be like for sure like your communication is then way up like it has to be, you know. Um, I know one thing like in what you call it like mind you it was a time difference. It was like a 3 hour time difference, but she was just like okay I'm gonna talk to you from this time to this time, but like, you know, like I think at that time I was on the West Coast and she was over here, so like at 10 o'clock was like 1 o'clock over here for her time. So she's like, yo, I gotta get up and do X, Y, and Z, da, da, boom, boom, boom. But we both made sure that we talked every day. You know what I'm saying? Had to. Um, and like there's pros and cons within like there's obvious pros and cons of a long distance relationship. Um, but what I like what someone said is that it's not always supposed to be long term. Like there is always the closing of the gap. Yeah, moving in or seeing each other this and third. Um, so, but I do remember like we always made sure for that. Um, but like when you gotta see somebody every day, you know, and there's no, so like that's the one part of like what you call it, right? That's why some people talk about like a safe haven or X or whatever. Like you had to deal with the world, you know, and you don't want your relationship to be another thing to deal with. You know what I'm saying? Like it's you have to deal with the world and deal with these people. Da, 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 da. So then when you come home, you don't have to deal with the world. That should be like your safe space, your safe haven, or you know what I'm saying. Um, but again, like again, people go through things emotionally. So how well you can or cannot show up for that person, or you know, on a day to day, like you know, they say like the choice of it, uh, the choice, like choosing to show up and be there for somebody. Um, so, and that's a daily thing, you know what I'm saying? It's a daily thing. And it's one of those, oh, I saw, it was funny, but then it ain't. It was like, you ever deal with a shorty where it's like, bro, can we just have a, we just had a good day yesterday. What was it? Can we have a good day? Like, Shores in the comments was like, yeah, activating my other personalities in the room. Like, yo, we was having a good day. Like, why? Can we just had a good day? Why we gotta? Um, but like, but yeah, showing up, choosing to show up. You know what I'm saying? Each and every day. Um, and you know, but I guess the general thing is how hard is a relationship, and how easy is it, or can it be like? Because you know, technically, there is a it don't gotta be hard. You know what I'm saying? Um, and some people just it's easy. It works. It makes sense. If there's tension and strife, why is there tension and strife right now? You know what I'm saying? Like why is it? Why is this not easy? You know? Why is this? What's making this difficult? This moment, this day, this whatever. Like why is this relationship hard right now? And just because when it is easy and it's in a third, you be like, yo, this relationship was just moving along so easily. Why is it not now? And they're for whatever reason, right? Can we get back to the easy? Can we get this shit easy? Again, some people think that you know what I'm saying, but I don't know. When you had an easy relationship, you'd be like, yeah, I don't. It shouldn't be hard. Why is this hard right now? It shouldn't be. We can make this easy. No, that'd be the one thing about a relationship. Like you literally can just be honest with like we can make it easy. Yeah. Uh, yeah, man. Mm. Talk about the honeymoon phase when that ends, you know. But I that's a full moon. Yeah, that's a full moon. It's like it ain't no clouds, boy. Well, ain't no clouds where I'm at. Yeah, it's a full moon. But like, okay. Easy relationship. Honeymoon phase. Oh, because you kind of want to see the person. And it's one of those. Tyler Perry has it. I forget the next one. Jones. It was just like, see a person when they're happy, when they're mad, when they're sad, stressed out. Like, seeing a person under those. Now, I think that's important. And I think, you know what I'm saying? Brittany Renner asked a question. Now, Shiloh had a response, and the other guy just kind of picked up on it, and then she probably was like, I don't hate to pick it back, but like time, right? How much time does it take to really vet a person? But this is why it's like you should take your time, but like this is what I don't like. I don't like manufactured situations. I don't like that. Um, I don't like if a person uh, manufactures a situation to see how you would act or behave. I don't like that. And my thing is, I'm gonna spot it, I'm gonna recognize it, and it ain't gonna go how you think it's gonna go. I'm gonna be like, either I'm gonna verbalize it, or I'm just going to. But I'm gonna know like, okay, you're trying to make this happen, and that I won't go like, or like this is your intention behind this, uh, 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 cause like I'm basically saying like over wherever like it takes 2 years. Like within 2 years, right? You'll see, like, and definitely within less time than that. But uh, you'll see a person under these range of emotions. Now, the thing is, it's not that you want to see it, but it's not that you want to see it and then like, oh, I really happen. It's you would want to see it so like, oh, okay. When this person's mad, they're gonna be like this. So you know how to navigate, you know what I'm saying? Still, and it's still to be of a successful relationship. When they're sad, when they're stressed, the things you got to say and do when this person is stressed, mad, sad, happy, whatever, right? Those type of drums. But so that's what I'm saying. I don't like manufactured situations to either stress a person out, make a person mad, make a person sad. Those uh now men and women do that. Men and women do that. And I don't like it at all though. Oh, I'm gonna do this to make them mad. They probably gonna get mad, but or they gonna be sad about this, or they gonna be stressed out over this. I don't like manufactured situations. Like if a person just happen to live their life, they're already gonna go through these range, and I don't like when people try to do that. And this is not outside of relationships. People do this. Let's say which one. Now the one that you, the now, and even like the happiness one is like the genuineness. Like, for example, if you do something, or if you do something for somebody, or if you give somebody something, and then they don't react the way you thought they would have, that'd be another one of those like that'd be another thing. Because then the person who did or said whatever for this happy reaction is now like, well, you ain't react the way I thought. You wasn't happy enough. You ain't react the way I thought you reacted when I said or did X, Y, Z. So it's like there was you genuinely didn't do it. You see what I'm saying? For it's as simple as holding the door for somebody and they don't say thank you. You get mad. Well, why are you mad at that? Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, there's a genuineness to like certain actions and whatnot. So, um, some people just not genuine. Some people just not genuine. A lot of people not. You know what I'm saying? Whatever they looking for, a thank you, this or that type of junk. Like, you know what I'm saying? Some people don't. You know what I'm saying? Some people just wear stuff because they want a compliment on their outfit. It ain't genuine. You see what I'm saying? They be mad. Anybody do that. Um, but uh, relationships, man. Relationships, man. Yeah, the effect that social media has had on it. Um, and yet, the relationship with yourself, self love, that's different. You know, what does self love look like? Well, this person might say this, and this person might say that. It's different it pertains to that person. Like, this is what they would do for themselves. You know what I'm saying? Um, and you know how some people will say that if you don't have that self love for yourself, then how can you love someone else? You know what I'm saying? You don't like if you don't talk about yourself in a positive light or manner, then how could you really, do that for someone else if you don't give yourself gifts? If you don't, what's the five love? So words of affirmation. If you don't even talk about yourself in a positive way, hype yourself up. You know what I'm saying? How are you going to do that for someone else? Gifts. You know what I'm saying? The importance or not the importance of. You know what I'm saying? Some people materialism. You know, um, uh, the one is physical touch. Self love. This is self care. Nah, but like, um, you can get yourself a massage. You know, you can stretch. You can work out. You know what I'm saying? You don't do those type of physical touch self care. I don't know. Anyway, um, what's another one? Acts of service. The things you're willing to do to help another person, life a little bit easier. Acts of service. Words of affirmation. Physical touch. I'm missing one. There's one more. Acts of service. Oh, quality time. Quality time. And again, with being in a relationship, how much time do you still reserve for yourself? And how a person could try to intrude upon that. You see what I'm saying? And it's like, well, shoot, you're not giving yourself this time because you're not giving up that me time for someone else. There needs to be balance, though, right? You still need that time to yourself. Um, so if you do adult, set that apart. Like, I don't know, Tony Robbins might be his name. Like, people have a dirt road to happiness and a highway to stress. They have a lot of things in their life that will stress them out, and there's very little that will that they can do, will do for themselves to make themselves happy or something like that. And um, I don't know where else I was going with that. I lost the train of thought. I'm not sure. It might be his name. I ain't read no book for him. Only time I see him is on YouTube. I only see him on commercials, like YouTube commercials. I don't know, he's selling some type of course or this and that third, but he's a motivational speaker. And I may have seen a video from him, but it's usually like I usually see him on. I've only seen him on YouTube, and it's just like he's giving some type of speech. He's a motivational speaker or something like that, and that's all you gotta do with life. So, um, yeah, I'm just gonna retitle this live stream relationships. um, it was sparked by the 50-50 thing, but yeah, tomorrow I'm either going I think this was cool. I think I'm gonna add another whatchamacallit here. I think I'm gonna add another one here. I don't think I wanna do anything to the top. Maybe to the sides. Thanks for the gift. Thanks for the gift. Maybe to the side. I definitely want to add some more of these. At least I'm gonna add some on this side. Yeah. Oh, definitely. Blah, blah, blah.